Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel and thank you so much for tuning in. We are in part 3 of the series. Oh yes, so I'm still continuing with my story and I hope you've been enjoying so far. If you haven't watched part 1 and 2 of the series, please make sure that you watch so that you follow along. And without further ado, let's get right into it. In the previous episode, I shared my first year experience with you. I told you how difficult and how challenging it was. Yeah, it showed me flames. So now we continue. What happened afterwards? Cool. So I wrote the test, I passed the test, and I was allowed to continue with the module, and I was able to qualify to write the final exams, which I passed, but I got a score 50%. But that was enough. That was enough. I was not aiming for a distinction or anything like that. I just wanted to pass, and unfortunately I passed, and I was able to go to a second year, and I didn't continue with the chemistry module. I just dropped it and continued. Second year and third year were not as hectic because I was now used to the university environment. I was now used to how things were done, how things were conducted. So the only thing that I had to worry about was the content itself. Everything else was under control. And so yeah, I successfully completed my degree in microbiology and biochemistry in 2015 and then graduated the following year. So now the question is, what happened afterwards? So after completing my degree, of course I was excited that yay, I made it, I conquered the edge. But then now I had to think about what next, and the next step. What am I gonna do? What's the plan, baby girl? And to be honest, I was not ready to work. So I didn't apply for any jobs during my third year of my degree. I didn't apply for any internships. I knew, yo, I am not ready. And that's why I didn't even look for job advertisements. I just focused on my studies, and I applied for honors because I wanted to take my studies further. But then the only problem was that I didn't apply anywhere else, or maybe I did, I don't know. I think I applied to UCT as well, I can't remember, for honors, but then they didn't take me. Yeah, so I applied to Wits and I wanted to do honors in microbiology, and then unfortunately I couldn't make it because yeah, the competition, guys, woo, no, it was tough. Because our class used to be so big. Our third year class was so big, and like we were more than 100. I can't remember the exact number, but then they only took about 15 people for honors, so you can just imagine. And this was not just people from Wits but from other universities as well. So it was tight, and so I didn't make it, and I was so sad. I remember when I looked at my academic transcript in December 2015, I was so heartbroken. I was very sad and I cried, and I didn't know what the next step was, because remember, I didn't apply for any job. I also didn't apply to other universities. I just applied to Wits and the UCT one. I'm not sure what happened, but yeah, anyway, so I just applied to Wits. And so now I was thinking, oh, now, Miguel, what's your plan? What's going to happen? And I think the most painful thing was the fact that I was not mentally prepared to leave Wits. When we left at the end of the year, you know, saying goodbye to my friend, it was a theme of bye, see you next year. You know, even my staff, I had left everything there because I was planning to go back for honors, but nope. Wits was like, honors away. Sorry girl, it's not happening. So that was the most painful thing, and I didn't know how to handle it. it was so hard for me to accept the fact that I was not going back to Wits, and even more harder because I didn't know what the next step was gonna be. And I remember telling my friends from Wits that I was no longer coming back. It was hard. And I also remember sending a message to Mpumi telling her, your friend, unfortunately I won't be coming back because of this and this and that. And then she responded, and then she was like, she said something like, yo, it's very sad that you're not coming back. I'm just paraphrasing. It's very sad that you're not coming back, but then maybe it's all God's plan. Maybe the reason why you were at Wits was, of course, one, to get your degree, but the second reason was for you to know God, to meet God. And because that plan was fulfilled, then God had to close this door so that he opens another one for you. Something like that, you know. It was more like the chapter has to be closed in order for you to move on. And when I read that message, at that point in time, it didn't make sense. And I think that's because I was still heartbroken and also finding it hard to accept the fact that I was no longer going back. But later on, as time went by, it made sense as to why that had to happen. Yes. Yeah, so I spent a couple of weeks just trying to think about what I can do with my life. And I remember at some point I thought, maybe I should just, dedicate this year to do other things like get my driver's license. But then I also reached out to the microbiology department at the University of the Free State main campus, just like sending an email to say, hey, this is Mamusa from Wits. I'm interested in doing honors with you guys. Do you guys have space? And then obviously it was late, nearly January, and I wanted to register for that year. And they were like, no, unfortunately it's full, so we cannot accept you. And then this other friend of my mom, a good friend of my mom, who works at the University of the Free State, then suggested that no, maybe you should go to UFS Kwakwa campus and do your honors there. And at first I was like, sir, you gotta be kidding me. Are you seriously expecting me to go from Wits to UFS and do my honors there? I think that was ego speaking. I guess I also looked at it as some form of a downgrade in a way, like from Wits to UFS. But then after some time, I was like, maybe I should give it a shot. So I just did it for the sake of doing it. I went there and he helped me a lot. He organized meetings with some people, and long story short, I saw something that I liked, so plant biotechnology, and I remembered, there was a module that I did in my third year which covered this biotechnology thing, so maybe it's something that I might be interested in. And I was like, okay, it looks interesting, let's give it a shot. And we applied, and then I had a meeting with my former supervisor, or at that time she was my prospective supervisor, and the application was processed, and fortunately I was allowed to study. I was allowed to be part of the research group. Now the problem was with funding. I didn't have funding because my bursary was only covering my undergraduate years, and I didn't even apply for an extension, so I was moneyless. But the good thing is that my mom works at UFS, and so she was able to apply for study benefit, and she got it. It was approved, and at least my tuition fees were covered, and also my supervisor was also able to give me some money from NRF because she had a grant, NRF grant. Cool, so I started with my honors degree at UFS Kwakwa campus, majoring in plant biotechnology. The honest truth, I was not happy. first few months I was not happy, and I think it was always that thing, Miguel, you have just downgraded. I don't wanna lie, I couldn't make peace with it. It took me some time. And even with my work, I was not very serious. Yes, I was doing work, but I don't think I was putting a lot of effort. But yeah, life continued, and as time went by, I started warming up and accepted the fact that this is where I'm at right now, and I need to make the most of the phase that I find myself in. So I was now also being part of different activities, just making the most out of my varsity experience. And the reason why this was also important for me was the fact that when I was at Feds, I was always fixated on the end goal, which was getting my degree, and I didn't really maximize my time during my undergrad years. I was always focused on academics and nothing else. And at the end of the day, I found myself having this certificate, but I didn't have a lot of experience. I didn't have a lot of experience in other things like leadership, and other activities that could have helped me to grow as an individual. So it was a hard lesson to learn. That's actually when I learned the importance of living in the moment, making the most of the stage that you are at in your life, making the most of the season that you find yourself in, because it will never come again. And also there's a reason why you have to go through that, so you need to make the most out of it. So during my honors year, I made sure I'm active. I was in leadership, I was part of the postgraduate student council, and I was very involved, man. I was very involved, and it really helped to make my varsity experience very rich. So I was not just studying, but I was also growing in other areas of my life, which is something that I always tell those who are starting off with their varsity journeys, like, make sure that you're involved. Don't just focus on your studies. Of course, the main priority is your studies because you are there to get your degree, but not only that, you're also there to be groomed as a person, to be shaped and grow in other areas as well. And sometimes you never know what you're good at until you actually try out different things and eventually find out what is it that you like and you're good at. So my honors degree comprised of research and coursework. So I also had exams, I also had lectures to attend, and I also had to spend time in the lab doing research. So it was quite hectic, I don't wanna lie, it was very hectic. I even lost weight. Yeah, one thing about me, whenever I am stressed, whenever I am under pressure, it shows. I become small. I lost weight, but it paid off at the end because I passed my honors with distinction. Ooh, thank God. Yes. And I was so happy. Also, the reason why I was happy is because I was selected to be part of the International Golden Key Society, which is an organization that recognizes students who are doing well in their studies. So I don't know the criteria that they use, but then I remember when I was still at Fritz, I used to have this dream to be part of the Golden Key Society, and I never made it because course was charming, course was showing me flames, but after my honors degree, I was part of this, and it was a great achievement, and I was so happy. And it also came up with a very important lesson, which is something that I always preach, to say that everything happens for a reason. Sometimes we don't understand why we have to go through what we go through in life. We become so mad, or why do I have to suffer so much? And it's only after some time that you look back and say, now it makes sense. Now it makes sense why I had to go through 1, 2, and 3. It's because God wanted to teach me this. It's because God wanted to grow me, to mold me, to refine me. And the refining process is never easy. Hey, it is not easy at all, but then it is necessary for our growth. So yeah, that's what I learned from that experience, to say, that's again, some things that happen in our lives, or in fact most of the things that happen in our lives, they happen for our own good. But when they happen, we don't actually realize that it's for our own good. It's only later on that we see, I'm actually grateful that it happened. Okay, cool. So now back to my honors year. It was good overall, even though it was hectic, and the hard work paid off because I passed really well. I got distinction, and I also became part of the Golden Key International Honor Society. And I decided to continue with my studies and go for masters, which also went well. I mean, it had its own challenges as well, but overall it was a great experience. I was exposed to different things that I don't think I would have been exposed to had I still been at FEDS. For example, I got an opportunity to travel abroad. I went to the UK and I spent 6 weeks there working on my research project, which was a great opportunity. It was amazing. And then I also entered this competition called the 3 minutes thesis competition, where you are basically supposed to present your thesis, everything that you're doing, your project, methods, results, discussion, everything. You have to present it in 3 minutes to an audience that is not familiar with your work, and you have to present it in such a way that they understand. So Miguel was like, I'm gonna give this a try. And I remember I didn't even tell my supervisor about that. I was just like, let me do it. Just as an extra thing, to say, by the way, I have participated in this thing. So I just decided to enter this competition. I went there and we competed with people from different universities around the world. Yeah. And to be quite honest, I was so close to giving up even before I tried, because I was so nervous. Especially on the day when we were supposed to start with the presentations. I was nervous. And I think the main reason why I was nervous was because I was going to compete with people from different universities, some from America, some from the UK, and I already judged myself even before I ascended the stage, to say these people are very fluent, they are articulate, and they're probably going to cruise. But then me, on the other hand, I'm going to, struggle. I'm just from a small university that doesn't have a lot of advanced resources. So, I mean, it's a given that they're going to win. But little did I know that God had a plan. And just to cut the long story short, I went for 2 rounds, I think 2 rounds. First round went well. The second round, which was the final round, it went well, and I was the winner. I was announced the winner of the 3 minutes thesis competition. So they gave me a beautiful trophy, and then they also gave me $500, I think. Yeah, and then certificates as well. It's one of my biggest achievements in academia to this day. I am so grateful for this, because it opened my eyes, and it also helped to boost my confidence. And I also learned so I'm actually capable of doing such things, And the reason why I'm sharing these things with you guys is not to brag or to show off, but it's just to show you both painful things that happened in my life and the good things that happened, all of which have shaped me into becoming the person that I am. And I don't think if it wasn't for both experiences, both good and bad, I don't think I would be where I'm at today. And also to show God's goodness. Yo guys, God is good. And everything that happens in our lives happens for our own good, whether we believe it or not. And like I said, sometimes it might be painful. And you might be asking yourself, for a matter, God, how long is this gonna continue? Not knowing Horiena, he can see from afar. He knows our future plans. He knows the plans he has for us. Rona, we are just short-sighted. And if things don't go according to our way, we become discouraged. We are easy to complain. It's very easy for us to give up and just feel like life is just going south. Kanti, not knowing Hori, the big guy upstairs is preparing something great for us, and it's only if we allow him to do the work in us that he will actually turn our lives into great testimonies, to just show that he is good. And if we allow him to work in us, he will do great things. He will do wonders with our lives. So yeah, that's what happened essentially. That's basically what I wanted to share with you guys today. Just to summarize, to make sure that everything is in order, to make sure that you are all on the same page. One, I completed my degree after seeing films in first year, thank God. And then number two, when I finished my degree, I was not ready to go to work, so I didn't apply for jobs. I only applied for honors, and unfortunately I was not accepted. I couldn't do my honors at first, even though it was my wish to do it, but I couldn't do it because of the small number of people that they were taking, and also my marks were not good, so I didn't make it. And then thirdly, I had to go to UFS, and I didn't want to go to UFS over campus because I felt like it was a downgrade and it was hard. I found it very hard for me to adjust, to make peace with the fact that I was now at a different environment, and deep down I didn't want to be there. So I found it really hard to accept the situation that I found myself in. But then over time I had to accept and move on, because crying without stopping was not gonna help. It was not gonna do me any good. Cool, so that's honest. It was hectic, but then it paid off at the end because I passed with distinction and I was selected to be part of this Golden Key Society, which was a dream come true. So I was happy about that. And then I decided to continue with my masters, and during my masters, I mean, there were still challenges, but God continued doing great things in my life. I was able to travel and see the world. I also won this competition, and it really helped me to see that, you know what, I can achieve great things in life despite the hardships that I went through in life. And as I looked at the events that were unfolding in my life, I realized, Tori, it's true that everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And even though we might not understand when things happen, trust you me, God is always in control. And when certain things happen in our lives, we may feel like it's torture. We are suffering and the suffering is not ending. We are being punished for whatever reason. But then if we endure up until the end, one day when we look back, we'll actually be grateful for everything that we had to go through, because we realize, oh, now God's hand was there and there was a reason why we had to go through whatever it is that we went through. Some of the reasons may be so that we can learn and become better people. We can be refined so that we can become better versions of ourselves, you know. So there's quite a lot of things that can be learned during hardships. Yeah. And every time, whenever I go through hardships, I always think of gold, the refinery process of gold. It's a very intense process. We only see the beautiful shiny end product, but we don't really know the processes that happen behind the scenes. The fact that gold has to, this stone, this crusty stone, has to go through intense fires. It has to go through serious cleansing processes, and then after all these things have been done, you can see this final product. So I think it's the same with us as well. When we go through tough times, guys, it's painful. I don't want to lie and say hi, bekezela kuzolunga. Of course we have to bekezela, but it's not easy. It is not easy. So it's painful, but then at the end of the day, you look back and be like, okay, now I get it. I get why it had to happen. So that's basically my life. All these things that I've been going through, that I didn't like, that were painful, now I look back and I'm like, God, thank you. Thank you allowed this to happen. And now I see why it had to happen. So yeah, guys, that is part 3 of my story. I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, so please give it a thumbs up, like, and if you haven't subscribed, please do, hey. And thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I see that we have new people in the house. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. And I shall see you guys next week. Until then, keep well, keep safe, and keep healthy.